I want to welcome you all to the Meet the Candidates event for the candidates who are on the ballot in the town of Milton. Before we begin tonight, I want to remind everyone to turn off all electronic equipment, all those cell phones. My name is Barb Thomas. I'm on the steering committee of the League of Women Voters of Saratoga County. And I live in Saratoga Springs, so I'm not affected by the results of this election in any way. And I'm going to be the moderator for this evening. We certainly want to thank the town of Milton for arranging for the use of the community center for this event. The League is a nonpartisan, volunteer political organization dedicated to the informed and responsible participation of citizens in government. The League never supports or opposes any political party or candidate. That has been the League policy for 97 years of our existence. Membership is open to anyone who is eligible to register and vote, whether male or female. And I realize that many of the people in the audience tonight might be fiercely partisan. However, I will insist that the candidates and the audience treat each other with respect. I also ask the audience to hold its applause until the candidates finish their closing statements. So we will have the evening in 3 segments. We're first going to hear from the justice candidates, then the town council candidates, and then the supervisor candidates. The job of the audience is to listen and to ask written questions. You may use the forms that have been provided this evening. Please indicate your name and if you live in the town of Milton. Questions should take no more than 30 seconds. Most questions should be directed to all candidates. However, if a question is directed to one candidate, the other candidates may respond as well. And please, audience members, note that we may not have time for every single question that you submit. Our question vetting staff is ensuring that the questions with the most interest get asked first. They may combine some questions for efficiency and to avoid repetition. They will also make sure the questions are clear, readable, and contain no personal attacks or inappropriate language. And we will not be accepting more questions after the opening statements of the candidates. So that means you need to really start writing very rapidly. Candidates are asked not to distribute campaign literature, but to place it on the designated table, which is over there. And remember that this is not an event for campaigning. No hats, pins, signs, waving of flags, any of that. Our demonstrations are allowed inside the building. And the timers for this event are in the front row. And they will hold up cards for the candidates to glance at. Green means 1 minute left. Yellow means 30 seconds. And red means time is up. Tonight's event will be divided into 3 segments, which I already explained. There'll be a brief pause when we change from one group of candidates to the other. Also on your ballot on November 7th will be 3 ballot questions. The League of Women Voters of New York State has produced a brochure outlining those questions, giving the background and the pros and cons of each. So that's that one that's called Facts for Voters, Part 2. Part 1 was about the deadlines for registration. Feel free to pick up the brochure on your way out if you didn't get it when you came in. Okay, the candidates for the justice seat on the ballot on November 7th will be Timothy Brown on the Republican Party and Mark Juda on the Democratic Party. And it's now time to hear those, and we're going in alphabetical order. So, I invite Tim Brown to come up.
M is before T, though.
Do you want it on the stand? Or?
I just talk to the side here. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out to, I know I'm not the flagship candidate here tonight, but I do want to tell everyone here why I feel that I'm a good candidate for the job, as well as why I'm so passionate about this job. I've lived in Ballston Spa my entire life. I started, I was brought up in Ballston Spa. My parents were brought up in Ballston Spa, my grandparents. So I have quite a bit of history, and I recognize probably 85% of the people here already. One of the things that always interested me when I was a kid was the police, the justice court. I was always interested in what happens to criminals, what happens to people after they're arrested, and what the dispositions are. And I think that may have been what drove me to my career as with 26 years with the Sheriff's Department. I can remember as a kid, my first exposure to the justice of the peace was when my dad used to threaten me with, keep that up and we'll be going down to see Salvi Briscoe, who was the village justice at the time. And times have changed since then, let me tell you. We have a lot of updated training, every day there's new law. You guys hear it all the time, Leandra's Law. Those are all those things that we deal with at the town court. And that's important that the justice be aware of all the changes in the law, all of the updated trainings, and to keep track of your finances, which is probably the most important. I have a background in electrical technology. I graduated from Hudson Valley Community College with an associate's degree in electrical technology, which has nothing to do with the justice candidacy, but you may find me up there doing some work at the town hall, replacing photo eyes and light bulbs and etc. With that in mind, I want to stress how much I learned with my candidacy, or with my career with the Sheriff's Department. When I started with the Sheriff's Department in 1991, we had 40 members. Now they have 120. Everything that goes through the Justice Court, I have dealt with. I have dealt with evictions. What does the sheriff do? Evict people quite often. I have dealt with traffic tickets. I have dealt with misdemeanors, felony arrests. I retired as senior investigator. And everything that goes through the town court, I have had hands-on experience with. I've served as your justice for the last 7 months. My books have been to the penny with the comptroller's office, which I think in the spirit of today is very important. And also, I think that my passion for the job is what drives me over the top. I'm not afraid to answer my phone. In the last 7 months, I have answered my phone 131 times for off-hour ranges. So if that doesn't speak for passion, I don't know what does. And that ranges everything from 3 o'clock in the morning calls to 3 in the afternoon. So I want to thank everybody for inviting me here, and hope to take your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now the next candidate for town justice is Mark Juda, running on the Democratic line.
Thank you. My name's Mark Juda. I did not grow up here. I grew up out in Buffalo, but I've resided here 17 years at this point. So I consider the town of Milton my home. My kids have grown up here, and I consider it my home. So I don't have the advantage of not having grown up here, but I consider the town of Milton my home. I've been a practicing litigation attorney for 23 years. I'm a former assistant district attorney. I've tried cases in every single village, town, city, federal court, Supreme Court. I've argued cases in front of the Court of Appeals. I do this for a living. I don't do this for a part-time job or a 3-day justice training. It's what I've been trained to do. I've been doing it for 23 years. That's why I believe I have the education, experience, and training to do the job. I graduated from law school in 1992, been admitted since 1993, spent 3 years with the Assistant District Attorney's Office up in St. Lawrence County. I've handled millions of evictions myself, it's what I do. besides, again, prosecuting cases when I was an assistant district attorney. As a defense attorney now, I tried murder trials, I tried, in civil side, I tried multi-million-dollar medical malpractice cases. Again, I believe that education, training, and experience is what makes me the qualified candidate for this job. So I hope I had your vote on November 7th. Okay? And I appreciate you coming out here today and listening to what I have to say. Thank you.